Now, breaking news from WRAL. Coverage you can count on.
Breaking news, this is a live look in Washington, D.C., where search and rescue efforts are underway after a passenger jet collided with a military helicopter.
It's a very difficult situation out there with the cold. It's very dark, but there are numerous boats out there. There are dive teams out there.
We'll explain the elements first responders are working through as they recover bodies and look for survivors.
Flights affected. This is a live look at RDU, where flights are canceled as airlines scramble to work around the closure of Reagan Washington National Airport. And it will stay closed until at least 11 a.m. this morning, Reagan National Airport, as that massive search operation is underway. Just shocking news to wake up to as I went to bed before this all happened. But we haven't had a passenger air disaster in this country in 16 years. We will update you on the situation in just a moment. I'm Renee Chu.
I'm Jeff Hogan. Good to have you with us here this morning. A lot to get to here as you're just waking up to a lot of this news as well. We're going to begin with Elizabeth Gardner over in the WRAL Severe Weather Center right now with those temperatures. Those are pretty mild for January.
Yeah, warmer yesterday than today. We had a weak cold front come through, bringing slightly cooler temperatures, but we're still looking at temperatures in the mid 60s. Our attention over the next 24 hours turns to the system that's going to roll through tomorrow, and we'll talk about that in just a second. But our skies are clear in Cary this morning. Temperatures are cool, a little warmer than yesterday, though, 42 degrees. Our winds are calm. It's not going to be as blustery today as it was yesterday. South Hill's checking in at 33, 35 in Rocky Mount, 37 Goldsboro, 38 Clinton. So a lot of folks are waking up to 30s again this morning. So it's still coat weather to start with. And then again, we're going to climb on up into the mid 60s this afternoon. Expect the clouds to thicken up a bit overnight tonight. We may wake up to a few isolated showers tomorrow morning, and then the potential for some thunderstorms tomorrow afternoon. I'll walk you through the timeline on Futurecast coming up.
We're staying on top of the breaking news out of Washington, D.C. An American Airlines passenger plane collided with an Army Black Hawk helicopter. It's a live look right now at what is happening on the Potomac River, where search and rescue crews have recovered a dozen bodies so far. We're expecting that number to grow this morning. Here's what we know right now about the deadly collision. The passenger plane was carrying 64 people. 3 people on board were on that chopper, 3 crew members, I should say. 2:45 this morning, NBC News confirmed several members of the U.S. figure skating team are among the victims. Russian state media is also confirming 2 Russian world champion figure skaters were also on the plane. About 300 first responders are searching this freezing river, and we know the plane left from Wichita, Kansas. A citywide prayer vigil is planned there today. Chris Levengood is monitoring updates from D.C. for us in the WRAL Live Center this morning. Chris.
Well, you know, Jeff, that's something we're watching very closely here in the WRAL Live Center, whereas right now, they're, of course, the first responders there on scene searching, trying to see whatever they may be able to find in this river as these folks are in there right now. You can see in this video that we have from our feed of them searching it. In fact, as you mentioned, yes, the U.S. figure skating team has mentioned that there were members of the team that were on it, and we actually have the statement here that they had released there saying that, quote, "We are devastated by this unspeakable tragedy and hold the victims' families closely in our hearts. We will continue to monitor the situation and will release more information as it becomes available." And so essentially what I'm doing here in the WRAL Live Center is I'm looking to see specifically what our nation's leaders are saying about this, looking on any social media feed or press releases we can get, including from the White House. So stay here in the WRAL Live Center. You will see us frequently here trying to bring you more updates as we try to learn a little bit more and hopefully learn more about the people, specifically who were aboard that aircraft.
President Donald Trump says the crash should have been prevented. After midnight, he posted to Truth Social saying the airplane was on a perfect and routine line of approach to the airport. The helicopter was going straight at the airplane for an extended period of time. It is a clear night. The lights on the plane were blazing. Why didn't the helicopter go up or down or turn? Why didn't the control tower tell the helicopter what to do instead of asking if they saw the plane? This is a bad situation that looks like it should have been prevented. Not good. That was the president's post on Truth Social. Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth says the Army and the Pentagon have launched an investigation.
California Congressman Eric Swalwell says he landed at Reagan Airport moments before the crash. Take a listen to what he experienced.
When I was flying from Houston to D.C. I'd been visiting my parents and landed at 8:42. And by the time I was in the car, was seeing on Twitter and social media, what had happened. But like many of your witnesses, I didn't see or hear it at first.
Swalwell says he has flown that route many times, and it's not unusual to see helicopters and other aircraft in the space around planes.
Reagan Washington National Airport is currently closed, and it is affecting airport and air travel across the country, including RDU. WRAL's Kelsey Coffey joins us live from the airport. Kelsey, there are several cancellations there this morning.
Yes, Jeff, we're tracking cancellations and delays here at RDU that could be a result of this crash. Now, according to FlightAware, we're seeing that there are 11 cancellations here at RDU. 9 of those are out of Reagan National Airport. But now the flight boards here still haven't updated, so it's showing right now just 1 cancellation. But we have checked FlightAware, and it says that there are much more. Now, DCA says that they are grounding all of their flights until at least 11 a.m. So we'll be sure to keep track of any cancellations that could impact folks' travel plans here at RDU. Kelsey Coffey, WRAL News, live at RDU.
We are staying on top of this story all day long on TV and online. Download the WRAL News app to get push alerts straight to your phone. It is free to download. Coming up in 10 minutes, we'll hear from a man who saw the aftermath of the collision from his apartment window.
Breaking news we're following out of Orange County. I-85 is back open now after an early morning accident near Chapel Hill. This was the scene from the WRAL breaking news tracker around 2:30 this morning. The right lane of I-85 was closed for several hours after a truck driver fell asleep at the wheel. Nobody was hurt. You can see the damage to the front end of that vehicle. Traffic was restored around 4:30 this morning. A man is recovering after being shot in Durham. Durham police say they were called to Naples Place shortly after 10 o'clock last night. That's where they found a man who had been shot. He was taken to the hospital and is expected to recover. The incident is under investigation, and anyone with information is asked to contact Crime Stoppers.
A man was taken to the hospital after being shot in Raleigh. It happened at an apartment complex near the intersection of Pool Road and Raleigh Boulevard just after 7:30 last night. The man shot has non-life-threatening injuries. Police say there are no suspects in custody, and the shooting remains under investigation.
Robert F. Kennedy Jr. will face questions from senators today for the second day of confirmation hearings on his nomination for Health and Human Services Secretary. Today's hearing will start at 9 o'clock this morning. Kennedy faced tough questions yesterday about his past statements opposing vaccines. Kennedy told the panel right from the top that he was not anti-vaccine.
Senator, I support the measles vaccine. I support the polio vaccine. I will do nothing as HHS secretary that makes it difficult or discourages people from taking either of those
Anybody
vaccines.
who believes that ought to look at the measles book you wrote. That's not true.
Kennedy says if he is confirmed, his mission will be to reduce chronic diseases, which he calls a crisis.
President Donald Trump says he will sign an executive order preparing Guantanamo Bay to hold up to 30,000 people who are here in the country illegally. Trump did not specifically say what the executive action would involve or when he plans to sign it. A U.S. official says facilities at Guantanamo Bay are not prepared to house that many people, and it would require much more military staff.
Today, we'll get an update on plans to add an entertainment district and mixed-use development around the Lenovo Center. Raleigh City Council will address the rezoning plans during a special meeting today. The 27-acre entertainment district around the arena is expected to include a music venue, hotel, and other buildings. A 12-acre mixed-use development along Edwards Mill Road could include buildings up to 40 stories high. City Council will meet at 4 o'clock this afternoon.
This is another live look at the search efforts happening in D.C. in the Potomac River as we hear from reaction from people who saw the midair collision.
Immediately, I looked up the window and there were like some smokes.
Hear what witnesses describe hearing moments before seeing smoke rising from the river.
And we'll give you this live look in Zebulon this morning. It's going to be another warm, late January day. Meteorologist Elizabeth Gardner will tell us about our rain chances to round out the week.
From the WRAL Severe Weather Center, North Carolina's most experienced team of meteorologists.
It is 4:43. This morning feels a whole lot like yesterday. Temperatures are on the chilly side. It's 35 in Wilson, 42 in Durham, and 40 degrees in Fayetteville. It's not quite as breezy as it was yesterday morning, and those winds will be a little quieter through the afternoon as well. Temperatures will be slightly cooler than yesterday during the afternoon, but it's still going to be really pleasant. We have the top of the tower lit in blue for clear skies this morning, but we'll see some increasing clouds later this afternoon. Some chilly temperatures out there. 33 in Tarboro, 32 South Hill, 35 Rocky Mount. It's 44 in Irwin, 40 degrees in Fayetteville. School forecast, again, kids, you'll probably see them at the bus stop in their winter coats this morning, but we do climb well above normal this afternoon, back into the mid 60s. We'll see increasing clouds coming up. We'll talk more about the timeline for tomorrow's showers.
We're staying on top of that breaking news in our nation's capital. This is a live look at the search and rescue mission happening right now in the Potomac River. Crews are working to find survivors after that midair collision between a military helicopter and a passenger plane last night. They have yet to find any survivors. We know that bodies have been recovered from the river, but the number of deaths has not been released.
We have some reaction from a man who lives nearby the airport and witnessed the plane crash, that collision. He says it was an ordinary night, and suddenly he heard that impact.
Somewhere around 8:50 p.m., I hear two bombs. It's not like any bombs I've heard before, something I've never heard before in my life. And they were like seconds apart. Immediately, I looked up the window, and there were like some smokes.
And the man says he saw the response to the Potomac River, which has been frozen since the Arctic blast from earlier this month.
President Donald Trump has signed an agreement to settle a lawsuit against Meta. He filed the lawsuit after Meta suspended his account following the January 6th attack on the U.S. Capitol. Meta says the settlement is for $25 million. $22 million of that will go toward Trump's future presidential library. The settlement does not require Meta to admit to any wrongdoing.
Attorneys for the man accused in the Gilgo Beach murders say they want 5 separate murder trials, not one. Defense lawyers for Rex Heuermann say they want one trial for the first 3 Gilgo victims. Then they want one trial each for the other 4 women Heuermann is charged with killing. The defense team argues that's the best way to ensure fairness for him. The defense is also challenging the key DNA evidence linking Heuermann to the 7 victims.
Emergency crews in western North Carolina are working to contain a wildfire. Authorities say the Crooked Creek fire erupted yesterday after a tree fell on a power line. They say the fire is extremely dangerous. People living in high-risk areas were told to evacuate. So far, about 250 acres have burned, and the fire is 15% contained. No injuries have been reported.
The Department of Forestry is also investigating a blaze that burned 100 acres in Franklin County. The call went out around 2:30 yesterday afternoon. When the Bunn Volunteer Fire Department arrived, they realized it was bigger than they expected, and it was growing fast. It took them nearly 2 hours to contain it. Franklin County deputies went door to door, alerting people how fast it was spreading. WRAL asked the county's Director of Emergency Management what it took to bring the fire under control.
The issue was the wind. Every time the wind blew, a new hotspot would spark or ember would fall somewhere. So this was a very complicated fire. We had to call in North Carolina Forestry with their bulldozers to help set fire lines to try and prevent that fire from spreading even further.
And once that fire was contained, they let the remaining hotspots burn themselves out. People who live in the area were warned to be careful with the ground being so dry.
Your time is 4:47 here in the WRAL Live Center. Jeff, I'm just monitoring the feeds as we continue to get more images from D.C. And I wanted to show this moment here. This is through EarthCam. This is what we kind of use when we're looking at different stories across America when something big happens. And this actually caught the moment of that collision between that plane and that helicopter. Let me go ahead and press play here so you can see. You'll see it right there clearly on the screen. And in the distance right here, watch. You'll see a little blip of light. And that's the moment of impact you can see there with that collision. So what we're doing is essentially combing through different video that continues to come into the feed. Join me here in the WRAL Live Center in the next 13 minutes or so, and I'll have more images to reveal here from that crash overnight.
Chilling to see. People are sharing their concerns about plans to develop land at Lake Crabtree County Park into a hotel, restaurants, and bars. More than 100 people spoke at this public hearing during the RDU Airport Authority meeting last night. For years, RDU has leased the parkland to Wake County for $1 a year. Now, FAA rules require the airport to get fair market value for the property. And that would mean redevelopment of 136 acres, including where the bike trails are now. People who use those trails say it's important they remain.
The trend across the country is to build trail systems and not take them away.
Everything costs money now, so to have free outdoor recreation that's world-class like that is really important, and it's fleeting.
Nothing has been decided yet. RDU says it is seeking proposals and would not build high-rise buildings, offices, or warehouses.
Time to check your freezer. Chicken nuggets, some of them sold at Wegmans, are under a public health alert right now. This affects the 46-ounce bags of frozen, fully cooked breaded chicken nuggets. The Department of Agriculture said the nuggets may be contaminated with bone fragments. The product has a best if used by date of August 26th, 2025. A recall was not issued because you can no longer buy this product. But if you have these nuggets at home, you should throw them away or return to the store for a refund. There have been no confirmed reports of injuries.
It is 4:49, and we're starting off a little warmer than we did yesterday, in the 40s around there. Meteorologist Elizabeth Gardner in the WRAL Severe Weather Center with a pretty view of Cary Park.
It looks gorgeous out there this morning. We're going to see mostly clear skies this morning. More cloud cover than we saw yesterday. It won't be quite as windy. Right now it's 42 degrees in the Triangle. It is still very dry. We were just seeing that fire story there out of Franklin County. We won't have quite the wind, but it's still very dry. So we still have that to worry about today for fire danger. The Weather Service has not put out a special weather statement yet like they did yesterday. So we'll let you know if they do. 37 Southern Pines and Clinton, 39 Goldsboro, 32 up in South Hill. So temperatures are ranging from around freezing into the low 40s as you're heading out the door. This afternoon, almost as warm as yesterday, 64 in Raleigh and Durham, 66 in Fayetteville. So it'll feel real comfortable. We'll see increasing clouds during the afternoon. This is a look at our hour-by-hour wind gusts. Yesterday, we were gusting 20, 25 to 30. And today, it'll be less, more like 10 to 15, but still that can be enough to spread some fires. So that's another day you definitely want to put off any outdoor burning. This is a look from Jonathan McIntyre in Old Fort, which is in the mountains, and you can see the fire there up through the hills. Meteorologist Anthony Baglione in our 7 o'clock newscast is going to be talking more about those fires and how they spread. Go to WRAL.com/report it, and we love to see your photos. We have warm days ahead. As a matter of fact, we could be close to a record high tomorrow, 75 degrees. We also have rain in the forecast for tomorrow. Saturday and Sunday are a little cooler, upper 50s to near 60, but then we bounce back into the 70s for Monday and possibly Tuesday as well. For tomorrow, 75, the previous record for RDU, 77, the record for Fayetteville, 78, and that's where we could be tomorrow. We're going to be pushing 80 degrees tomorrow, but again, we'll also see the potential for some showers. Some light rain is possible during the morning commute, and then again during the evening commute when we could end up with some scattered thunderstorms. And we'll talk more about that in a few minutes. We'll walk through Futurecast. Again, it'll be a little bit cooler for the weekend, but look at that, 70s in the forecast to start next week.
Thanks, Elizabeth. Planning for the holidays. Which holidays? Didn't we just get done with the holidays?
We did.
But we are going to tell you which state is home to the 2025 U.S. Capitol Christmas tree.
Too soon, too soon. Care for cold turtles. The work being done to get cold-stunned sea turtles back to the ocean. I guess it's February. Almost.